Mike was muted. Haha. Hello, guys, and welcome to Crush Your Convo, where we are crushing the conversation one episode at a time. Today is Gates McFadden's 76th birthday, and I thought I would drop a special episode in honor for her. And I got some of my favorites in her career and also as of Beverly, so I hope you enjoy. I already have a couple people in the chat, so I'm very excited. Here's Dave and Sarah saying happy birthday to Gates. And yes, Dave, showtime. Woohoo. Very unusual for me to be doing this on a Sunday late morning, early afternoon. So I'm kind of all out of sorts, I think, a little bit, but I think I got this. First off, I am going to go ahead and show, let me go ahead here, her works. So as you can see, we all know that Gates has done a lot in her career. So this is just really just a little bit that I decided to highlight. Of course, she was the secretary, Muppets in Manhattan. She was Caroline Ryan for 2.3 seconds in Hunt for Red October. She was in Taking Care of Business. She played Diane. She was Uta Keller in LA Law. This is all 90s, man. This is so 90s. Party of Five. She played Greer. And I remember that episode. I don't know about y'all, but my family, we all watched Party of Five. And I do remember that character. I was like, she was the one that went after Scott Wolf's character. So I was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, she's a great actress, of course. She was Kimba in Marker. She played Allison in Mad About You, which I'll be talking a little bit about. Crown and Dangerous, those TV movies that we used to have like on NBC and all that. That was one of them. And I remember that movie too. She was in The Practice and Franklin and Bash as a judge. She was NCIS. And of course, recently she did the voice work of Mother Ascani in X-Men 97. So definitely wanted to highlight those. Those in the chat, Sarah and Dave, if you have any favorites that is outside the Star Trek realm, please post that in the comments and I'll definitely share it. But yeah, dive right into some favorites of mine and we'll definitely go from there. I'm going to go ahead and remove this because it just looks better when I do it this way. All right, so here she played Paul's boss for like 4 episodes of Mad About You. I loved Mad About You. I love Paul Reiser. I love Helen Hunt. They definitely had really great chemistry. And I remember this character because she was kind of in the middle. I think it was season 4. She was kind of in the middle when Paul and Jamie were deciding to have a baby. And of course, Jamie had this dream that Paul was having an affair with Allison, and it was this whole thing. A duck was involved. It's a thing. You guys got to watch it. It's hilarious. But I definitely enjoyed her character here. Fun fact, I was like 9 years old, okay, at this time, and I got her confused with the actress, and forgive me, I can't remember her name, but that played Ross's ex-wife in Friends. I thought they were so I thought this whole time that was the actress that played Paul's boss, and sure enough, it's been Gates this whole time. Gates was a part of my childhood more than I even realized. Sarah says, I loved her in Marker. It was a great show and should have had more than 1 season. Very correct. I absolutely agree. I saw it on one of the streaming platforms, one of the free ones. Definitely was a great show. I just think there was an issue, I think, with the main actor. Not that he was a bad guy or anything. I think just wasn't as committed as everybody else. But Gates says she loved it because she got to be in Hawaii with her son for like a year. Dave says, loved Mad About You. I was obsessed and remembered her. She was on repeat there. I swear I loved Mad About You. I remember the birth scene of their daughter, the back of like with it was oh gosh, uh Carol Burnett and Carol O'Connor were Jamie's parents. And then Bruce Willis was playing himself with a head injury. It was hilarious. I guys, seriously, absolutely great show. Dave says, "Oh, I wasn't a Friends guy, so don't know, but that's funny." Yeah, I mean, like I was 9. Okay, everyone looked the same to me as an adult. Okay, they have like the same hair and style and stuff. So, but as I got older, I realized how wrong I was. So the next one I'm going to be mentioning, of course, she was the choreographer on the set of Labyrinth. She also did the puppet movement. Took this little snippet here as they were doing the ballroom scene. What cracks me up here is that I was born in 85. Labyrinth came out in 86. So the only reason why I know of the movie is because of my older brother and sister, who is 8 and 5 years older than me. And the only thing I remember about this movie was the ballroom scene. I was obsessed with movement as a kid. I did tap and ballet when I was little. And of course, just like every 90s kid, we would copy the dance moves of like, NSYNC and Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys did the same thing. But all I remember of this movie was the ballroom scene is because it was very majestic and the way it moved and all this stuff. So I remember when 2022, I'm learning about Gates, I'm learning about Star Trek, and I figured out that she was the choreographer. My mind was blown. I was so excited. And I, it's one of those things where you just never know, like I said, Gates has been part of my childhood more than I realized. And I didn't even realize it at the time. And so, yeah, those were a couple that I wanted to mention outside of her work, obviously. Have seen some clips of where she had guest starred, like I said, in, like Franklin and Bash and NCIS. But this one that I'm going to actually be bringing up is going to be a short that she did, and it was called Finger. And I believe there's still a website out where you could still see this 12-minute short. And we had known that she had done it. We just didn't know when it was going to be released. And finally, it was released. And one of the things is that she actually won Best Actress at one of the horror type conventions, or I don't know if it was a convention, but one of those different types of award shows that you would get outside of like the mainstream. So I'm going to go ahead and play the clip, and if you guys haven't seen it, here's a sneak peek. So here we go. This is her in Finger.
What happened that night, Michael? What happened with Amanda?
I don't remember. What's this?
Open it.
I don't remember this.
Are you denying it?
No, I blacked out.
I assure you, it happened.
So yeah, that is a little clip from Finger. Like I said, it's about 12 minutes long, and she plays this very mysterious character who goes to different people's houses to collect a finger as a penance for their crime or something that they did. And I very interesting. And before I get into my story, I'm going to actually hear what Sarah says. She says Gates has been her idol since I first saw her on TNG in 1987. She was 6 years old. I looked up to her so much as I was growing up and still do. And you're not alone, Sarah. I know so many people who have loved Gates, especially since TNG, since 1987, have been a fan of hers. And she just has that great sense of character of not only how she portrayed Beverly, but just who she is as a person. And that is something that we definitely would look up to, right? The thing about Finger, and I brought it up because I think Gates did a fantastic job in this. She had like a southern accent. She was very creepy. What happened was is that during this time, it was 2023. It was about the end of March, beginning of April, and it was literally, I'm not even joking, just like 2 or 3 weeks after my trauma, and I was going through a very hard time. And of course, my trauma involved a lot of blood. Okay, so spoiler if you guys haven't seen it, there's a lot of blood at the end of this little movie, and I wasn't expecting it. I should have, but suffering from PTSD, you really don't think about these things. And so I watched it, and I remember I was watching it on my phone in the parking lot of the hospital because I was seeing the workman's comp doctor to see if I should be going back to work or not because I was at work at that time. Shouldn't have, but I was. And yeah, I watched it. And at the very end, when it showed all the blood, instant panic attack, total burst into tears, got all hyperventilated in my car, and I shut it off really, really fast. And of course, the person that shared it, I instinctually just thought, you guys need to put a warning on this. You guys can't be posting this without a warning. And now looking back, 2 years later, that was a very bitchy thing of me to do, to tell her to put a warning on it because she was just sharing the video. She had nothing to do with this movie. And but at the time I wasn't thinking that. I was in such a panic mode that I did a horrible thing. And I apologize for being so rude and being so aggressive. But like I said, I wasn't really thinking at that moment. But the thing is I could not at all see this movie. And it became part of my therapy that after I went through my trauma therapy and my PTSD and all that stuff, which took about 15 months. That was going to be my goal was to watch this movie. And also a couple other things. I couldn't watch 17 Seconds because Picard was happening at the same time because there was that trail of blood in sickbay. And then I couldn't watch Ethics because Worf talked about suicide. And I couldn't watch Night Terrors because Worf tried to commit suicide with a knife. And so those were my big things that I was like, okay, I'm gonna get to my therapy. I'm gonna do what I can, and those were gonna be the moments where if I could watch this and not have an anxiety attack, I did a good job. And this is where I worked hard and I saw it and I didn't have a panic attack. So quite proud of myself. Kudos to me. But yeah, it's interesting now that this movie has a much more personal meaning to me because of what had happened at the time. And the same, I could watch 17 Seconds now. I could watch, Ethics and Night Terrors without full-blown anxiety. So yeah, just thought I'd share that story. Sarah asks, where can we watch this movie? I think I still have the link somewhere, so I'll post it on social media when I have a chance. And Dave, ugh, yeah, it was a rough time for me. Like I said, I got through it. And then Dave also says, heavy triggers, but interesting ways to overcome. It was a big whole thing. Like even the hotel room that this trauma had happened, I did not go into it until it was gutted. We were just so happened to be going through a renovation at the end of the year. Never ever. It took a little while to just go on the floor, but never went back in that room until it was absolutely stripped. Like we're talking like nothing was on the walls, bathtub gone, everything was gone. And now that it's all redone, I could go in there. I sometimes will have, and this is just going to happen for the rest of my life. I will have PTSD triggers and I will have moments, but I at least have now ways to overcome those moments when they happen. So it's just, it is what it is. And that's now part of my life. But yeah, I just wanted to share that story just because, of what had happened during that time when that movie came out. But I'm actually going to go into the Beverly portion of this. If you guys have any other comments about Gates's work outside of TNG, please don't forget to post about it. But I did this video back in January, I want to say, maybe sooner than that. It is with the Like a Prayer from Deadpool and Wolverine, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought I would highlight what we love about Beverly. And so I'm just going to go ahead and share that right now.
So let's do what we spent our entire lives learning to be great at.
Not sure if any of you guys have seen that, but there you go. That video kind of just highlighted what Sarah had said, how she has been an idol of hers since she was little. And that's why I showed a little bit of when she was on The Next Generation and how Beverly is now. So really enjoyed doing that video. It's only like 40 seconds long, but it took almost 3 hours to make. And sometimes that happens. So yeah, the next thing I'm actually going to be doing, I'm going to have to bring out my book, but I have a couple of things that I just wanted to highlight when it comes to Beverly's character. And so this one, I am going to do a Nema Check It Out. All right, guys. So I truly enjoyed Arsenal of Freedom. And one of the biggest things that I loved about Arsenal of Freedom was that it was Beverly that got injured. Okay. It's I always say this is kind of weird, but I always like my favorite characters getting injured somehow because I like the dramatics of it all. And I wanted to say a little bit of this little snippet here in Larry Nemechek's book. It said this episode was originally conceived as a Picard Crusher love story, but Lewin recalled that Gene Roddenberry changed his mind and opted instead for this extremely ambitious action-adventure yarn mortality tale about arms merchants. Les Landau, an assistant director who became the first of many production staffers allowed to direct, suggested that it be Beverly Crusher and not Picard who was hurt in the fall into the pit, putting the captain in a fish out of water situation. And shout out to Jay, because every time he sees this, he's like, how does Picard not know first aid? That should be a number one requirement to be a captain. I absolutely agree, but this triggers him. But yes, I love that they changed it. Apparently it was supposed to be Picard. They changed it to Beverly. And also, and I hate to bring this up, but I had heard, not sure if this is true, but I had heard the original pitch for Beverly confessing her feelings to Picard was Maurice Hurley. As everyone knows, Maurice Hurley is not the type of person we want to hear about when it comes to Gates, because he's the reason she got fired. But I was like, oh, that was a brilliant idea. And Gene was like, nope, not going to happen. And so that's why it got changed to the way it was. Now, I mean, I think it's a good concept. I think, the planet ended up destroying itself because this AI type machine, and it just kept getting smarter and smarter and smarter. And yeah, big warning. So, something just popped up. Your feed, we're having trouble streaming. I did not end it, but okay. Something happened on my Instagram. So I'm just going to check that real fast, guys. I'm not sure what happened. You're already live. Yeah, I know. So why are you screaming? I don't know what's going on. But anyways, hopefully this is still going on YouTube. Give me a thumbs up, guys, Dave and Sarah in the chat to make sure that at least the YouTube videos is going. But anyways, back to my story. So with Arsenal of Freedom, it was definitely a good episode. I did enjoy it. I love the way Gates played it, of how Beverly was going through that, up and down, where she started to lose blood. She started to get cold, like, and yes, she was going into shock, and it was believable. There was another, and I actually should find it because I've heard of this and I thought it was absolutely disgusting, but it does happen. It did say that Patrick and Gates endured flea infested sand in the cave pit built on the cargo bay set rather than on stage 16. And she was really in that pit. Okay, she had, and fleas. Oh, good acting on them, man, especially her. She was like in that sand. So so yeah. Sarah says, "Well, I fixed the whole thing with their love story in my fanfic. So take that, Jean. No offense." We all did, right, Sarah? Like literally all of our fanfics were just like, we're going to rewrite this because this is how we wanted it. And Sarah and Dave, thumbs up, all good here. Perfect. They can still hear me. Just don't know what's going on over on Instagram. My apologies. But yeah, so I wanted to mention that. But again, ew. And good job, Gates, for, enduring all of that. But my next one, and I'm going to make sure that I am ready. So I really wanted to highlight this. Absolutely. Everyone talks about the sick bay scene between Picard and Beverly in season 3. And it's brilliant. It's perfect. I love that they're at each other. They're going at it. I love the arguing of it all, because they've always just been so, like, I don't say they were perfect, but it was just like, oh, you're forgiven, like, all the time. And they just never really had any conflict. And I really loved that they had conflict. However, this sick bay scene is what I believe was the best one. It was the one with Beverly and Vadic.
You look so at ease. Relaxed. Not even trying to slip out. Which is good. Because it's hermetically sealed, so it would be a challenge. Even for you. So, you are the one who has been hunting us all this time. You must really want my son. Why? You know, I took an oath to do no harm. But you should know, I am rethinking that promise.
Aren't you adorable? I was under the impression this would be more of an interrogation. Only now, it seems you've given up your endgame before the start. No hope for me. Unless... And now I see. He's to play understanding. To your crew. I'm bored already.
I mean, come on. So good. Like, so good. And the thing is that Amanda Plummer apparently likes to take multiple takes, because she tries different ways of doing the character. And so Patrick and Gates had to do multiple takes. So I don't know what take this was. I don't know if it was mishmashed together, but the thing is, it was brilliant. The way that Gates said, you're the one who have been hunting us all this time, and the way she emphasized hunting and just being extremely sarcastic, but you could tell she was just angry and so done, because these were the people that were after her son. Yeah, Sarah says 100%. So good. Dave's like, so dang good. Absolutely. This is one of my favorite scenes in the entire season. The whole thing, no offense, Picard didn't need to be there, but the whole thing with Amanda Plummer and Gates McFadden the entire time while they're in sick bay, absolutely love it, and I had to highlight it. The other part of this scene is after Vatic is explaining why she hates the Federation, Starfleet, is because of what they did to them. And when she morphs into Jack, and he goes, you know, are you what did they say exactly? Are you ready to lose another son? And you could see the way that Gates is emotional. You could see the tears in her eyes, but she just looked pissed. She looked so angry. And I loved that because here she is still suffering the loss of Wesley because from what we know, the last time she saw him was when Jack was a little boy and never saw him again. And so she was desperate to keep Jack safe. And to hear that was gut wrenching. And it was all over, like, because, the camera's right up in the face. All her emotion was in that look. And I just thought it was brilliant. Dave says, we all benefited from this multiple takes. Amanda Plummer nails it. Yes, exactly. And um, like I said, they might have mixed matched a few things, but she had to figure out where she wanted to go with this character because Vatic was so out of the box, all over the place character. She needed to make sure that it was right. So, and Patrick and Gates totally nailed it by just trucking along with her. Right. So, but yeah, I really wanted to share that. Post anything in the comments of what your favorite moment of Beverly in season 3 was. And now I'm going to actually showcase the next one, which one thing that I love about Beverly is that she is a mom of these wonderful boys who is played by Will Wheaton and Ed Spaliers. And there was a Crusher reunion on last year's Star Trek cruise, and they did a Crusher comedy hour between the two. Wish I could have seen it. I'm sure it was absolutely hilarious. And I know Todd Stashwick had joined in as well. But yeah, I think, and I'm kind of looking at this, and yes, two different fathers, two different takes, two different whatever. And, Wesley was, of course, the smart kid of engineering and everything. He was the nerd, right? He definitely knew his stuff when it came to ships. And so he was very book smart. Okay. Well, Jack is more street smart. Okay. I don't want to say that they were, running around all the time, but I believe, he got to see different places. He got to learn different things. And of course, as they were on the Elios, to help those forgotten worlds, he got to learn to be, a little sarcastic, a little, different, and, try to bribe people. I mean, he had warrants, for goodness sakes. He had different names, and he learned all that from Beverly. That just shows that Beverly has different, she's just this overall different character. And so, definitely wish we had more. Definitely wish we had these two boys on screen together. Would have loved that. Unfortunately, we didn't, and it's just one of those things that we kind of wish that we had, and maybe someday. We're hoping for a legacy. We're hoping either if it's a legacy movie, I would definitely love to see the Crusher boys together. Sarah says, any scene with her space son Jack is my favorite. She and Ed are perfect together. I hope both of her space sons call to tell her space mom a happy birthday. I'm sure they did. They're good space boys. Space sons, I should say. Dave says, two sides of the same Crusher cloth, as it were, the best parts. Exactly. Beverly literally she is a scientist. She is a doctor. She also knows, the book smarts of it all, just like Wesley. She raised these boys. And that's what's funny. They tend to kind of forget a little bit about, I know Lori mentioned this last week where she was all like, I was very annoyed because they kept saying, your son Jack, where she's like, she raised him. Jack is Jack because of Beverly, not because of Picard. And she raised both of them. So these boys are smart, intelligent young men who know their stuff because of their mom. Absolutely 100%. The whole reason why Wesley is as smart as he only got his father for 5 years. Whole reason Wesley is the way he is because of Beverly. The whole reason that Jack is of all trades is because of Beverly. And he even mentioned, he was all like, if she wasn't kicking my butt, she was right beside me, right? So she was not only being like, I am your mom and you're going to listen to me and you're going to do as I say, but she was also their partner. She helped them. She was always there for him. And that is what I love about Beverly's character. Sarah says, hashtag Star Trek Legacy. Woohoo! And yes, Davesy, Legacy, Legacy. Absolutely. I know a lot of people don't really want Legacy. They want it more for the Captain Seven, which I do as well, and Raffi. And they don't really want it for the Jack Crusher. I think overall, I think it will be a good balance between the two, especially because I think Jack and Seven will kind of have a unique friendship due to the fact that she is part Borg. Okay. She always has been and she always will be. And so is he, but in a different way. And they're going to have that. She's going to probably help him, overcome all that he went through because he's organically a Borg. Right. And as much as we saw, yes, they destroyed that Borg cube and the Queen, there's really still more Borg out there. Okay. They started in the Delta Quadrant. They ended up coming to Alpha. There's Borg all over the place. And there's always a new queen. There's always something going on. So Jack has to be careful with the little brain thing of, probably has to take an inhibitor for the rest of his life so he doesn't get sucked in again. And it's not like they could really take it out, right? It's in his brain. Like that's it. Terry Matalas said that he images Jack as the bones to Seven's Kirk. That's true. I could see that. So would Raffi be like more? I don't know if Raffi's a Spock, though. I don't know how that would work. But I guess when Spock has emotions, I could see that. But I think it would be a great trio. I really, really do. What did Raffi say? She said, um, I know it was thief and a spy, but I can't remember what Seven's was. But she was like, I'm surprised they gave him the new Enterprise. But let me see. What do I have on my list? Again, any other favorite Beverly moments? Drop it in the chat. And yeah, I just think overall the reason why we adore Beverly is because of how Gates played it. She went on a roller coaster ride trying to figure out this character. And I think she really did hold the reins of what was important. And one of the other things is that she really worked hard for season 3, as much as a lot of us are like, we don't like the fact that she did hold a child secret to Picard. I know I'm not a fan of the story, but I've just accepted it because it's the story and that's just how it is. I do believe, and this comes from Trev from the salon, is that she did the wrong thing for the right reasons. And I absolutely hold that till the day I die. Okay. And it's just because she's also human. She's smart, but she's human and she did not want to lose anything. Gates even said, I made sure that they put in that she lost her parents and her husband and Wesley. She couldn't lose anymore. And she knew Picard was a threat. And she wasn't expecting to get pregnant, right? I mean, bloodlines. Everyone seems to forget about bloodlines. Like, hello, the Ferengi just made up a son so they could kill him to get back at Picard. And he had nothing to do with it. Okay, so try and take the actual son of Picard and see what happens. So definitely, yeah, not a good thing. Not a good thing. I think what she did was correct. And yeah, pirate. Yes, Sarah, it was pirate. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack dodge the Borg with an inhibitor stick. Oh, I love that, Dave. I love that. Dave did say, though, she had to be a mom first. And it's so true. As much as, yes, she loves Picard, and yes, she loved her job, but she is a mom and she sacrificed everything to protect her son. And I think people sometimes forget that. Even Gates said it in my interview with her. She was like, she left a job she adored, everyone that she loved behind. She lost everything because of this, and it was because she had to protect. Hi, Joel. Thank you for coming. He says, hi, everyone. And to Dave. Dave says, I like that she made her with faults and shades of gray. Family matters are messy. And it's true. It's just very realistic. You know, I know Gene wanted to kind of have this perfect utopia type of image, but the one thing about Star Trek is that nothing is perfect. And they're even still learning about themselves, and they're learning just how to cope with loss. And, you know, even during that time, when Beverly and Picard tried it one last time, they had just lost Data. And that was a hard thing because they thought Data was going to live forever. And so it probably put in their brain that time is short, time flies by, and you never know what's going to happen. So it is one of those things that I think they did very well. Like I've always, I defend Terry so much. I mean, he was given what he was given, and he worked the best with what he had. And I think he did a great job. And so, and I loved what he did with Beverly. As much as I'm not a huge fan of her hiding her son from Picard, it definitely, it does make sense of why she did it. So yeah, that is the end of my gushing of Gates. I'm going to go ahead into my next subject because it is time for Redhead Alert. Okay, guys, so I'm doing things a little differently right now. So before I used to have you guys vote for my next episode, I decided to nix that, and I kind of stole the idea from Captain Squadron. Hey guys, about spinning a wheel, and it's called Sick Bay Spinner. And I did it at the end of my last episode with Lori, and it landed on this, which was the Borg versus the Crushers. And I am going to have Kenny from Truck Wars podcast, and we're basically going to be breaking down of the irony that Beverly saved the Borg, and she ended up having a Borg child. So Kenny will be with me, and it'll be this Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so you do not want to miss this. Also, Truck Talks is April 5th, First Contact Day, with John Billingsley and Bonnie Gordon host a fun-filled day of panels and guests to help benefit the Hollywood Food Coalition. Follow them over on the socials at truck_talks, or subscribe to their YouTube channel at Truck Talks Telethon, where you will get to see all of their amazing interviews and panels and all the fun times that's going to be happening that day. And also, my conversation with John, I'm no longer calling them interviews. I am calling them conversations because I just think it just sounds better and it makes sense. So my conversation with John will drop the week before Trek Talks, which is March 28th at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please hang out with me in the chat as that drops. Also, Patreon shoutouts to Chuck and Leslie, who are my Commander patrons, and Engineer Mark, who is my Admiral patron. If you would like to support the podcast and enjoy exclusive extra content, just head over to patreon.com/Crusher Combo, and you could sign up for as low as $3 a month. And right now, I am doing a rewatch and review of The Center Seat because I'm a huge fan of the Nacelle Company's docuseries of Star Trek. And I hope to sit down with Brian Volk Weiss soon to not only talk about The Center Seat, but also the new toys that he's going to be bringing for us. So yeah, super excited. Gonna check the chat here real fast. So Joel says shades of gray, wrong Dr. Date. Oh, very true. And yes, he sad face Data. Dave says, LOL, too soon. A little bit, especially for a Crusher fan. It's always too soon. Yes, Dave, a spinner. So hopefully you'll kind of understand. I will be doing the spin again this Friday. So we'll see what my next episode's going to be. And it's going to be loads of fun. And yay for Truck Talks. Woohoo! Sarah says, my hubby and I just restarted that the other day. Oh, nice. Okay, perfect. But yeah, I think I got everything. Again, happy birthday to Gates. I hope she has a wonderful day today with her friends and family or however she is celebrating. She knows that she has fans who absolutely adore her, and those socials are going to be flooding with amazing birthday wishes. Thank you to Dave, Joel, and Sarah for joining me today on this Sunday early afternoon. Sorry for the bright light behind me. Usually it's a little bit darker, but I guess you could see my Crusher sign. But anyways, yeah, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. New episode this Friday. I have some interviews coming up, full packed with just a bunch of stuff happening in March and even in April. So you do not want to miss this. But yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much. And as always, I'm going to try and find this. As always, live long and prosper. Have a good day, guys. Bye. Don't forget, you can listen to all the audio versions of Crusher Convo on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can support the podcast by buying merch on TeePublic, buy me a coffee by scanning that QR code, or becoming a Patreon member for as low as $3 a month. But the best way to support Crusher Convo is to like and subscribe here on YouTube. You can also find me on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, or TikTok, so please follow me there. And of course, all this information can be found on crusherconvo.com.
Crusher out.